everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be telling you all about the worst flight experience of my life. I actually fly and I travel a lot, and this one definitely stands out as the worst flight ever. So, to give you some backstory on this flight, I was actually flying to a Middle Eastern country, and the airline I was taking to get from the US, where I live, to this Middle Eastern country, I had to fly out of New York City. Also, I was going with other people, so I was meeting them on the flight. I wasn't just like flying out of the country by myself. I was still pretty young at the time. So, to get to New York City at the time, I was still living at my parents' house in Boston. To get to New York, if you live in this area, you know it's fairly easy to get Boston to New York City. You have the Greyhound bus, the Go bus, both under $50, like 4 to 5 hour ride. You also have the Amtrak, like the Excella. It's more expensive, but it's also super quick, like 3 hours. But me, being young and dumb, I'm still pretty dumb, but I was more dumb back then. So me being young and dumb, I thought, okay, the best way to get from Boston to New York for this flight is to buy another flight from Boston to New York right before I leave, which really just doesn't really make that much sense, like looking at the greater context of everything. But that's what I did. So I got on my flight, or I was getting on a flight from Boston to New York City. Boston to New York City is such a short distance, it's literally a 45-minute flight. 45 minutes. It takes you longer to get through airport security and boarding than it does to make it through this flight. So, also, side note, this is actually super important, but I was flying the, day before Christmas Eve, getting on an international flight. So, New York City, this is like the worst day of the year to travel, but everyone in New York City is getting on an international flight to go see their family, their relatives, for Christmas. So, I'm in the airport by myself in the Boston airport. In the boarding area, there was no sign of delays, nothing. We weren't told there would be any delay at all for this flight, 45-minute flight from Boston to New York. So, I'm sitting there waiting. Boarding time passes. So, okay, maybe they're just boarding late. Finally, it's the time that the last group should be boarding the flight. And they come on the speakers and they go, just to let everyone know, we accidentally double booked our flight staff in another flight in Maine today, so we're gonna go ahead and cancel this flight. Okay, so everyone on this flight is, no one is flying from Boston to New York the day before Christmas Eve just for any reason at all. We're all trying to get an international flight. We're all trying to see family. So everyone's freaking out. I'm stuck in the airport. I'm like, what do I do? I have to get on. This was in the morning, this was a night flight out of the country, out of New York. And I was just getting there. This flight was just getting me there just in time to make the international flight, as it already was. And now it's canceled. And if I miss this international flight, I literally have to fly alone because everyone else is going to fly without me. Never flown the country alone before, and also, I don't even know if my international ticket's refundable that I spent so much money on. So I'm freaking out. So we all obviously go up to the ticket desk. How can we get to New York? So I go up to the ticket desk. Again, and I don't even think there's buses or trains at this time because I literally have to leave now to just make the flight. So I go up to the ticket desk and I tell her, I'm like, I need to make it to JFK, John F. Kennedy Airport, because that's where my flight is out of. That's why I bought this flight in the first place. And it's going directly to the terminal. I need to make this international flight. It's non-refundable, blah, blah. The girl is so rude. I feel like this girl was just you know the scene in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles where he is just trying to get home for Thanksgiving, and the airline staff is so going out of their way to be so difficult, nasty, rude, just nothing goes his way. That's how I feel this woman, she could have been a character in that movie. I'm trying to talk to her. She's picking up the phone and rolling her eyes at me like mid-sentence, just being awful. Like, I'm sorry that you have to work at the airport on Christmas Day before Christmas Eve. Like, sorry, your life sucks. Don't take it out on me. And I was trying to be so like nice, hoping she would help me. So my luggage was already checked also for this international flight. So I had to get my checked luggage at JFK and make it to the international flight in time to fly out of the country. So I'm like trying to explain my situation to her. She does not care. Like, this woman just like literally just hates life. She hates me. And so she is like, okay, well, we can put you on another flight, like with our airline, but it'll leave right now. We'll take your checked luggage, and your checked luggage will get there on time. Like, we'll reroute it to this flight. But the only thing is, this flight is going to LaGuardia, not JFK. So the thing is, if you live in New York, you know, like, JFK and LaGuardia are both in Queens, but they're on the opposite sides of Queens. And New York City is so big that even not during rush hour, can take you like 40 minutes to get from one to the 45 minutes to get from one to the other. Not to mention, this is the Friday before Christmas Eve. Like, people are like leaving work. It's about to be rush hour. So I'm like, oh my god, is there a way that I can get on another airline's flight? Like, obviously she's not going to book me for another airline. This woman sucked. And she would just, I don't know. And so she was like, no, all the airlines are booked. So I don't know what to do at this point. I'm like, whatever. So I'm like, fine, just put me on that flight. I'll have to figure it out. So I get on the flight. We're sitting on and this is such a small flight because, again, it's a 45-minute flight. So we get on the flight. Everyone in the plane has been waiting forever because they're taking everyone from my flight. This stupid airline is taking everyone from my flight and putting them on this flight. So these people have had to sit on the tarmac and wait for now all of us to board. So they're like looking at us like we're the jerks, like we were late, like, and we made them wait. So they're all rolling their eyes at us like, these people, you know, these lazy people, blah blah blah. So they're all rolling their eyes at us. So and it's such a small flight because it's such a small, like, short ride. So we're sitting on the plane. Like, this airline, it's not that difficult, I feel like, to just, it's a 45-minute flight. Like, how do you mess it up this badly? I don't know. Like, how do you mess this up so badly? So we're sitting on the tarmac for another 20 minutes. Like, I'm about to lose it. And the stupid flight attendants keep, like, making excuses. They give us free water bottles. Like, oh, thank you for the free water bottle. That really makes up for all this. Like, thank you. Thank you for the free water bottle. So finally, I'm about to, like, lose it. So I actually go up to the flight attendant, and I'm like, hey, when are we taking off? And she's like, oh, soon, we just need, like, some crew, blah, blah. I'm like, no, I'm telling you, when are we taking off? Because we're all waiting. And she's like, okay, yeah, soon. Just keep saying soon. Like, what are we waiting for? Everyone's on the flight. Like, what? Like, do they need to put a new wing on the flight? I don't get it. I do not get it. So anyways, finally after 40 minutes, we take off. This is the worst flight. Like, again, it's a 45-minute flight. Like, I don't know how they mess it up so badly. This flight was literally turbulent. There's not a cloud in the sky. This flight was turbulent from start to finish. I don't think this pilot had ever even landed a plane before. That's how bumpy the landing was. And then he comes over the thing and apologizes to us, like, personally over the thing as we land. Like, thanks, buddy. You almost killed us all because you're a terrible pilot. But really, like, those free water bottles and that apology really made up for it. Thank you. Thank you. Please don't ever fly again. So we get off, and now I'm stuck in LaGuardia Airport, nowhere near. I have to make it to JFK. It is now rush hour. I am going to miss this flight, and I'm going to be stuck in New York where I have no family or no friends at this time, and I'm young, and I'm stupid, and I'm poor. And I'm just going to be stuck in New York City not having any idea how to get to this Middle Eastern country I need to go to. So I'm freaking out. So I literally probably like shoved like 10 people out of the way. Finally, like, at least they didn't mess this up. At least my luggage actually did make it through to the airport. At least they didn't mess that up. So I get my luggage. I go to get a cab this was a while ago, so this was before Uber was really like a thing. Yeah, like I didn't have the Uber app. That it wasn't really. It might have been around, but really wasn't popular. So I go out. So I get my luggage and I go out to the cab line where everyone's waiting. The cab line is a mile long, like a mile long. It's freezing cold out, December. Just a mile long of people all trying to get a cab to wherever they're going. Night before Christmas Eve, rush hour in New York City, Friday. There is no way I'm going to make this flight. So I'm like so desperate. So I see this woman who works at the airport, like one of the airport workers, and I'm trying to like explain to her. She's wheelchairing like an older lady. She's wheelchairing an older lady in a wheelchair into a cab, and I'm like, like, help me. I'm sure everyone's in the same situation, but please, like, help me. And the older woman in the wheelchair looks at me and she like tugs on me. She's like, sweetie, give her some money. And I'm like, okay, like how much do you want? And the old lady, I'm thinking this woman wants like $100. This old lady's like, give her $10. So I'm like, sure. So I rip a 10 out of my wallet and give it to the airport worker. The airport worker takes the cash, tells me to get in the wheelchair. So I sit in the wheelchair. She wheels me to the front of this mile-long line. My apologies. My camera just died on me, so I have to kind of start over a little bit. Alright, I'm a little thrown off right now. So, anyways, so I'm in the cab, and I tell the cab driver, I'm like, listen, you have to make it to JFK in like X amount of time. I'll tip you whatever if you can make it in this time. I'm going to this terminal. Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no problem. This man drives on the Queensboro Expressway like an animal. Probably going like 90, just swerving, just literally no regards for my life, anyone's life. This man is need for speed. And I was like, sir, I love the way you drive. You drive very good. I like how you drive, sir. So this man, need for speed down the Queensboro Expressway, literally just zooming past. So I get to JFK, and lo and behold, I did end up making my flight out of the country. I'd have to go obviously through a lot of security. Anytime you fly to the Middle East or anytime you fly international, you do have to go through a lot of security. So it did take me a while to go through that, but I did actually end up making the flight just in the nick of time. I don't know how I did it, because after all this, I did end up making the flight, and I did get to the country with the people met with the people I was going with, and everything was okay. So that is the worst flight experience of my life, and to follow up on that, I actually did email the airline and complained, obviously. And I just like went on a rant, and I was like, "This, your staff is just awful. This was awful. You're awful." And I know like this was a major airline. I do know major airlines do outsource to smaller airlines for short flights like that. So I think that was probably the situation here, why that went so horribly. But anyways, I did email them, and they ended up saying, okay, here's two $50 Starbucks gift cards, because I guess that made up for it. I was hoping to get reimbursed for the flight, but no, I just got two $50 Starbucks gift cards, which for a young kid, that was like, I ate for like 2 weeks off of that, like ate and drank coffee for like 2 weeks off of that. So whatever, it was fine with me. All that mattered was I made it to my destination. But seriously, that was probably the most stressful flight experience of my life. And word of advice, if you ever have to fly during the holidays, now that I'm a little older and a little wiser, just don't. Like, try to fly during an off time, or, take off a couple days ahead. Look into like trains, buses, because I've never had an issue with like I take the bus home all the time now that I live here in Queens, and it's never been an issue. Just don't fly during the holidays if you can avoid it. That's if you should take anything from this story, please take that. Also, if you enjoyed this story and want to hear more of my story times, please like and subscribe below, and have a good day.